Yep, we're live. Right, so let's now. Okay. Right. Here we go. Right. Let me just share this quickly and then we can get started. Share this on my main group. Okay. Right, let's just wait for a few people to come on in. That'll be great.
Okay.
So just to wait for numbers to build up. So I want to just share it again into another group. Okay. Right. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, a very, very good evening to you all. Just first of all to introduce myself to you. My name is Jonathan Waterman. I'm an award-winning wedding and events Toastmaster, planner, celebrant, and more. I love to work closely with all of my clients, offering only an exclusive and unique experience. Today, I am delighted to be interviewing Sona Madan. Now, here's a little bit about Sona before we start. She wrote me a lovely bio, so I just want to read it all back to you, just so we can tell you a little bit about her. And Vineet says good evening to Sona as well. So, hi, my name is Sona Madan Bhargava, and I run my own events business called Gold Rain Exclusive Events in partnership with Rimjam Sud, who is my sister. Both of us are qualified professionals who have left highly successful corporate careers to follow our dream of creating memorable and flawless events. We cater for all types of events, ranging from home-based small celebrations to large corporate gala dinners. From coming up with a wide range of creative and unique ideas to executing them to perfection. We strive to outdo any expectations and always go the extra mile. The USP is very important. Now, the USP for Sona and Rimajim is the level of service that they provide, which is very highly professional, and it's truly a bespoke and a unique experience. Events are not just their business; events is their passion. So the passion runs within Rimajim and Sona. So, ladies and gentlemen, this evening I'm delighted that Sona is happy to be interviewed by me. Following this interview, you'll have the chance to ask both Sona and myself some questions. So we expect lots of questions from you all to actually, so you can enjoy it, and let's really make this interactive so we get some great questions from everybody here watching this evening. So before we start, I just want to pay a very quick homage to those people that have actually unfortunately passed away from this terrible coronavirus episode. 34,500 in our country, and worldwide 520,000. So we only pray that these poor souls are resting in peace. They're at peace, and we keep them in our minds. You know, it's been a terrible tragedy, and we hope that things do get back to normal soon. But we can't rush these things. When it's going to happen, it's going to happen. But meanwhile, we all need to stay safe and well. That's the most important thing. So let's get started. A very good evening to you, Sona.
Hi, Jonathan. So nice to be here.
And it's lovely to have you here. How are you, and how's your family?
We're doing well, keeping safe. We're still following all the rules. So yeah, we're doing fine. We're coping.
That's the most important thing, and that's very reassuring. Thank you. So first of all, let's start very, very briefly with this interview. I would like you just to please reiterate and tell people who you are and what you do. Just to please elaborate on your services in more detail, please.
Yeah, sure. So I'm Sona, as you know. So I am one of the directors and founding partners of Gold Rain Exclusive Events. And my partner in crime is Rimjim, who's also my sister, and she's one of the the most jolly and a happy person to be around. So we both complement each other. So what Gold Rain Events really does, it's really our dream project, and the dream is to turn occasions into events, and it's really to turn ideas into reality. So we cater for all sorts of things, really, all sizes, all shapes, from baby showers to gala corporate events. And what we really do is we do event styling. So one of the things we ask our clients is, when the event finishes, what is it that you want people to remember about your event? What is it that you want them to, talk about? And that's what we give them. We give them exactly what they had in mind. We convert their vision into reality. So that's us.
Oh no, well, that sounds really nice. Actually, you're working with the clients very bespokely to find a solution for them to their problem. Basically, they've come to you, they've got a problem they want to solve, and you'll work with them to make sure that the problem will be solved very, very professionally, which is lovely, really. I mean, that gives the way you come across and your ethos. It's very, very pleasing to when clients hear that type of thing. To be honest with you, that you're passionate in the right place. So that's only a good thing. Can I kindly ask you then, how long have you actually been in the wedding industry for, and how did it all start for you?
Right, so we're quite newbies, right? We're relatively quite new. Gold Rain was officially incorporated just over a year ago, and before that, like I said in my bio, so I was an associate finance director in one of the world's largest accountancy, a professional services firm. So I had a 20-year-long career in the world of accounting. My partner, Rim Jim, she is an IT consultant in financial services world. So our day jobs were completely different to where our heart really was. So Gold Rain was just a passion, a dream that grew within us. We helped actually a friend with an event. It was a spiritual workshop which we created for them, and we helped the styling, the decor, the whole content, the delivery, and it was really stressful, but we absolutely loved it. We were delighted with it, and that's where the idea was really formed, that this is what we really want to be investing our time in, and we love putting someone's vision into reality, the organizing, the flawless, seamless rollout of an event. That's what we absolutely love delivering. So Gold Rain Events was formed. Since then, we've done, we've been quite lucky. We've been quite blessed that we have done a variety of things. We've done, ranging from small baby showers all the way to large corporate events, and absolutely loved all of it. But we are pretty new in the business. We're still experimenting, we're still exploring.
Wow. No, it's fantastic. You've had so much exposure, within baby showers, within weddings, within corporate events, and and you've assisted others in the event styling and the planning side of things. So, you've had quite a lot of exposure, which is really, really good, because it's sometimes good, isn't it, if you get thrown into the deep end. I mean, how do you feel about that? Do you feel you've been thrown into the deep end here?
Oh, I love deep ends. To be honest, I think that's where I thrive. I am not a shallow person. I have been trained to handle pressure. So when I am given a challenge, I absolutely love it. It brings out the best in me. That's when I perform my best. So I've been really grateful to everybody who's trusted me so far and given me things to do. And I hope I've done a good job. The feedback suggests I do. So that's my measure of success.
Yeah, well, do you know what? It's all about reviews and testimonials. And, if you do a good job, you ask the client for a review, and hopefully they'll give you a review, and then you can blog about it and you can share it, can't you? And that kind of increases your level of exposure online, doesn't it?
True.
Yeah, well, that's only a good thing. I mean, this evening, though, you were actually, for this interview, you're actually recommended by a very good friend, by Vineet Jory, who's a top photographer. What's your connection to Vineet, then?
So I have a lot of connections to Vineet. So Vineet is someone I've admired since I was born. So he's somebody I have always known since I was little. He's somebody I've always looked up to. And one of the things I really admire about Vineet is the fact that he's also, in some ways done what I have kind of dared to do now, following his footsteps, is he left a highly successful career in a completely different world, in the world of academics. I don't know if you know this, he's done double PhDs and a lot of master's degrees. He's extremely highly qualified. He used to run a college. He's dared to leave all of that to follow his passion. And I really, really admire him for that. I've done a lot of work with him as well. So I'm really glad he's introduced me for this interview.
Well, do you know what? That's a very, very, very good introduction, because, you know, I've worked with Vineet myself, and I can say from my own sort of work experience with Vineet, and I've always found an excellent team player. He works closely with you, and he will help you. Yeah. Vineet's the kind of person where, you know, if you ask for a bit of help, he'll be only too pleased to want to help you, and that's a very good quality.
Yeah, well. Absolutely.
You know, so obviously you've spoken about you're a newbie. You've done event styling. You've done a few corporate events. You've done this, that, and the other, which is great within the industry. So what are your plans for expansion as you go forward then?
So I'm really glad you've asked me this question, actually. I'm actually going to quote something here. I read an article, some time back. It was written by this guy who was a really successful entrepreneur. And what he used to do is he used to set up businesses, and the moment they used to grow or start to grow too much, he used to leave that business and start another one. And one of the things he said really resonates with how I am. And he said that I don't want to get to that level where I'm paying other people to do what I love to do. So yes, we have plans for expansion and growth, but for me, growth doesn't mean that I have a lot of people working for me. You know, I used to work in a really fancy office, had lots of people working for me, and I used to make a huge amount of money. I've left that life to come here. So here, for me, growth really is for me to get the opportunity to work across the industry with a lot of people and to be able to add value. For me, success really is when I bring a smile on my client's face and they say, wow, you've done a fantastic job. We've never seen this type of service or work before. That really is growth for me. So I want to get busy. I want to do a range of events, and I want to keep experimenting and keep bringing new ideas to the industry. That's really my future plan.
Fantastic. That's a good thing, though. It's, to have, to want to move forward positively, and to make yourself unique. Make yourself unique. That's an important thing, that you show that you're unique to your clients. You're going to offer something different to everybody else. Obviously your passion shines, but and I can tell you've got that kind of aptitude where you want to succeed. So it's very, very nice to hear that, to be honest with you. So thank you very much for sharing that with us. So can I ask you then, please, Sona, where are you actually based, and which areas do you actually cover?
So I'm personally based in Northwest London, but that's not we haven't really limited ourselves geographically. So we've done a range of events across London. We've ventured out all the way to Nottingham, but that's, wherever our client needs us, we will go. I would absolutely love to do destination weddings one day. So, I really don't think there is a limit to where we are focused. We've done majority of our work in London, but that's not to say we won't go anywhere else.
Yeah, no. Well, it's always good to actually not just stay in your local area, to actually go to really broaden your horizons. As I say, you said Nottingham, go to the north, your destination weddings you're looking at doing, and that's always good, that you're not just stuck into one particular area. So people get to know you around the country, and they get to know you worldwide about your work and everything. That's a very, very, very good thing. So just to ask you, you're coming across really passionate about what you do, which I love. I love people that have this much passion. So what I really, really want to know from you is, how come so much passion? Where does this passion come from?
So I think part of it is, I have to thank my parents for it. My mom's really creative and really passionate, and and I think some of it is just flown to me via the DNA route. So I'm really grateful for that. But I think just as a person, I like to give my 100% to whatever I do. And even when I was in my financial career, I was giving 100% to that career at that time. I was 100% devoted to that.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons I made the shift to this is a lot of people used to say to me that you're doing really, really well. Why are you leaving a career where you're so successful in your career?
Yeah.
Why would you leave that to do something completely new where you're going to enter at the industry at ground kind of zero level? And I used to say to them that if I can be successful in an environment, in a place where my heart isn't truly there,
Yeah.
then maybe I can make this an even bigger success, because this is where my heart truly is. I love creativity. I love organizing. I love getting things together, turning vision into reality. So, for part of me wanted to just see how far I can take this, and so far it's been great. I'm rubbing all the signals. I'm loving all the hard work I'm having to put in. Being a nobody really in this industry.
Yeah.
I'm loving starting from a blank piece of paper.
So really, I mean, to be honest with you, so as far as you're concerned, as I say, your attitude is very, very positive. The sky's the limit, really, to be honest with you, as far as you're concerned.
True.
No, but that's a very, very, very good thing. So just as a matter of interest, just moving on to something a little bit different now. I mean, we've spoken about your passion, we've spoken about where you're based, your plans for expansion, which have all been very, very good. And, our guests here this evening are loving what you're talking about. You've got lots of likes here from Shalini, from Shilpa. Obviously, Vineet's coming, and lots more people have come in on this. And what I'd like to know is, in relation to your business, is most of your business word of mouth, or is it networking, social media, or do you do paid ads more?
So it's, I think nothing can really beat word of mouth. I think people trust people they know. So when somebody puts in a recommendation, that goes a long way, right? So a lot of my work has come through people who had, trust in me because they knew me person that they would be getting, and they knew just how much of myself I put into what I do.
Yeah.
So a lot of that came through that, but you can't, there's only a certain limit to that. And obviously, if you want to grow, then social media is the place to go at the moment. It is the place to be. So yes, we are on Facebook, we're on Instagram. We use a lot of social media platforms. We're building it up with lots of pictures of everything that we do, so new people can see the work that we've put forward. We've done some paid promotion on Facebook, but not a huge amount so far. To be honest, this is probably the time I would have done some promotion if COVID hadn't really happened. So, but yeah, well, let's see what the next year brings, really. But yeah, we're on social media.
Well, that's a good thing. It's all about you are right, and it's all about awareness as well. Basically doing putting your promoting your company effectively, so to speak, without kind of selling it, but telling people more about the value that you're offering.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think one of the best signals to you that you're doing a good job is when your clients start to recommend you.
Yes.
And people that you hadn't worked for, you do the job for them, and they turn into your biggest promoters. That is a true sign of success.
No, well, absolutely right. Basically, if you look at the sales funnel, basically, you've got the, you get the top is you've got awareness, and then you've got interest, and then you've got desire, and then you've got the action plan where they buy. So the good thing is, you see, when you've got word of mouth, you're literally straight in there. All you're doing is the client's got the desire, and you want to give them an action plan, and you want to work with them basically. Yeah. So no, it's good. Word of mouth is very, very, very powerful. Now, can I just kindly ask you a question I ask a lot of people is, do you actually find that a lot of clients these days, obviously, to include your word of mouth, do you think it's more about money, about budgets and money, or do you think clients buy into you, or do you think they want quality?
Well, I don't think it's an either or thing, right? So everybody has budget constraints. Even big events that spend a major amount of money, they come with budget constraints. So I think what people look for is within that budget, who can give them the best possible service.
Yes.
Really. So you can't, they go hand in hand. You can't just give people a really cheap piece of work and not the quality.
Absolutely.
And if you are giving a quality, that does come with a certain price, so they have to make sure that they can match that price, really.
Well, no, absolutely. That's what it's all about. You'll sell yourself, and you'll do what you can for your client. You'll talk to them about your reviews and everything. But then you are right. It's the old thing, isn't it? Some clients you're going to really, really click with, but there will be other clients, unfortunately, not on the same wavelength. It does happen, unfortunately.
It does, yeah.
And you just got to take it on the chin, and you got to say, do you know what? The client, it wasn't meant to be between myself and that client, so you just move on. That's all you can do, really.
Agree. Yeah.
2 questions for you before we carry on. You've got a question from Ritu Madam. Have you got any special arrangements around COVID-19 safe events?
Yeah, this is, thank you for that question. I think the whole industry, the whole world is going through a phase at the moment, a transformational phase. And I think this industry particularly is getting a lot of challenge at the moment because there's no events, right? And where there are, obviously people want to be extremely safe because they don't want to put their friends or family in any kind of a risky situation where there could be, repercussions for their health. So, but at the same time, I think every challenge comes with every challenge comes an opportunity, really. And I think here we have an opportunity to innovate, to come up with some ideas that tick all sorts of boxes. So a couple of things that we have come up with is we've come up with a COVID photo booth, right? So I know it sounds a bit cheesy, but everybody wants something different, right? And here, the events that will currently take place will be very different, by definition. So we've created this COVID-friendly photo booth where people can socially distance and create memories that they can take away into lifetime and look back on and think, oh, wow, remember that phase, this is what we got. We've created personalized face masks for people, so that they can keep that and remember that, they have their initials on the face mask later on and they can look back at some time. We've created COVID-friendly party packages where we take care of all the health, and the government constraints. So 30 people, social distance seating, cuddle curtains, just making sure there's enough sanitizers around the place, make sure that everybody who comes in feels safe, but at the same time, they can still have fun and remember that event. So yeah, we're doing quite a lot of thinking at the moment. It's all really exciting, and we're coming up with new ideas all the time.
Well, that's great. I'm pleased you've elaborated on that, Sona, and I think what you've said is actually to me makes a lot of sense. I feel all suppliers need to kind of put a ratchet in place in relation to COVID-19, and for what it sounds like, you've done very, very well. So all credit to you. I hope that. You're welcome. I hope Ritu, that has actually cleared up what you've asked. Now, Vinny Jory has asked a question for you as well. He wants you to elaborate. You mentioned about Nottingham, that you've worked in Nottingham. You've done an amazing event that was based on a very interesting theme, Bollywood. Can you just talk to us all about that, please? Vinny and everyone would like you to talk more about Nottingham.
Yeah, thank you, Vineet, for that question. That was one of my favorite events. So, Jonathan, I don't know how familiar you are with Bollywood. I think the whole world knows what Bollywood is.
Yeah.
But I'm a diehard Bollywood person. So this event was a corporate gala night. It was after their conference. It was all doctors, and they went around Bollywood. So now, Bollywood theme is actually quite, it's a very interesting thing, but you have to do it in the right way. It shouldn't look like an Indian wedding. Bollywood theme is all about glitz and glamour that comes with the Bollywood industry. So we created the whole ambience, we styled the event in a way that people would walk in and they'd feel like they've entered a Bollywood awards night. So there were Bollywood cushions all over. We had Bollywood stand-up, Bollywood star cutouts all over the place, so that when people entered, it almost looked like they'd entered a Bollywood party with Bollywood stars kind of dotted around the place. We'd converted the whole venue from top to bottom, including the bar area. And the best part was the hotel where we did it. The manager there, she came out to and spoke to us later, and she said, "Wow, I've never imagined this venue to look the way it did." So wow. we were really pleased with the feedback that we got for that event. Amazing event.
Well, that's absolutely fantastic, and getting a review from the client means so much. It's that thank you that you can take so much out of, you know.
Agree.
And if they give you a written review, you can blog about it, you can put it on your website, you can put it on all your social media channels, and that sort of helps you build up your portfolio, which is absolutely essential.
Yeah,
really.
it is.
Now, I hope that clears up, Vinny. I hope what Sona said there. It's very, very extensive what she's actually said there, and I hope you basically enjoyed what she told you. You took something out of that, and everybody else. So, just another question for you, Sona, again from Ritu. She seems to like you. So asking, what is your favourite themes for party?
What are my favourite themes?
Yeah, Ritu has asked.
Okay, so I like Bollywood theme. We've just talked about it, and that's my personal favorite theme because it combines color. I think I enjoy all themes that have a lot of color in it. I love the vibrancy. So we've done all pinks. We've done character themes. We've done different kind of night themes so far. Jungle Book theme, which was quite challenging. I really enjoyed creating that one. To be honest, anything new which makes me think, there are some themes that have been done to death in the market, and you see lots of those. I like to create new things. I like where people walk in and they're like, wow, we haven't seen that before. And they like to take a picture of every single corner of the venue because it's got new things in there. I like creating any sort of theme.
Well, that is fantastic because all those photos, basically, all those photos add value to you.
Yeah.
That adds so much value to you, showing people, it's basically the photos are showing people what you're capable of, what you've done. And that's, and that is priceless, to be honest with you. So, so just moving literally on to the next question now. I mean, obviously, I know you're very, very prominent within the Asian wedding market, and I know you do a lot of Indian weddings and baby showers and everything. Can I ask, out of all the markets, is there any markets in particular within the wedding or events industry you want to expand further into? Have you got any reason? Have you got anything in particular?
Well, so I mean, like you mentioned, the Indian weddings are really the place I'm focused, probably because of my own background, and also because just how big a deal they are, really. They're quite a grand event for I think Indian girls, and I speak on behalf of the ones that I know, definitely. They might not think much about their married life, but they absolutely think about their wedding day from the day they're born. So, I love being part of their journey where, it's a really exciting time. And the two events that I really enjoy styling is one is a pre-wedding event where the girls put henna on their hand. It's called a Mendi night, Sangeet night. It's a really colorful event. Everybody is really happy. It's an amazing occasion. I love the colors. So that's one area where I really want to specialize. And the second one is the main wedding, and where the bride and groom sit, the actual stage, the backdrop. I think I've seen some amazing work being done by some of the Decor companies, and I want to really build on that. So that is probably one place where I'm going to be focused. But other than that, I would love to organize a destination wedding somewhere in Europe, maybe Spain or French Riviera. I would love to absolutely get an opportunity to do that.
Well, yeah, I mean, destination weddings are very, very, very challenging as well. It's but I know, but judging by you and your passion, you're just up for it, aren't you?
Totally.
Well, that's a passionate wedding professional, and it's lovely, and it's lovely to hear. So, obviously, I wish you luck on the endeavours there.
Thank you.
Got a few more questions for you coming in now. Now, a question from Guy Wade. So, a very good evening to you, Guy, and thank you for joining us. Goes, hi, Sona. What do you see as the trends currently for wedding decor? Any forecasts for the future?
I think we've got to thank you for that question. I think At the moment, we've moved away from the decor, which was kind of very neat. I think we've gone to a decor which is more, I don't know, it creates an environment around you. I love the floating wisterias and the floating candles. It just creates an ambience where you almost walking into your dream. That's what it looks like. It's not just one part of the venue that looks like that. The whole venue kind of is brought to life. I think we're at a point where there is going to be changes, and I think part of it is going to be COVID driven, because there's obviously going to be some constraints around how people can be seated around the whole place. So some of that is going to drive a change. But other than that, I think we're going to move more into a space where the whole environment around the whole of the venue is going to be themed, rather than just a particular part of a stage being brought into life. And I think bride and groom traditionally used to sit in one place, and everybody else would come to them and get a picture taken with them. I think we're moving into a place where bride and groom like to walk around. They've spent a lot of money on that day, right? They don't want to be just sitting on one place. They want to be moving around and meeting people and mingling. So I think what we'll start to see is the whole room being decorated, rather than one particular mandap or one particular stage.
Yeah, so you'll work with a client's basically according to you'll work with the mood boards, and you'll work according to their wishes. Give them lots of ideas with the colour schemes and everything, which is good, because if you've got a blank canvas, literally with nothing on it, literally a room, then it takes a lot of creativity to make that room fantastic, and to make that bride and groom walk into that room and say, wow. That's what you're aiming for, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you. Another question. Thank you, Guy. Thank you, Guy said thank you very much.
Thanks, Guy.
Thank you, Sona. Thank you, Guy, for your question this evening. Another question from Vineet for you. How stressful does it get when the decoration takes longer than anticipated and the client's guests start coming in? How do you manage that, especially if you haven't got a Toastmaster or a coordinator who's going to keep control of it?
All right. So thank you for that question. To be honest, that hasn't happened to me yet, and that's deliberately not happened to me. So one of the things I particularly am very strict about with myself, my team, is timekeeping. Right. So if the clients tell me that the party starts at 6, I'm going to have the venue ready at 4, by hook or by crook. So I've had events where I've turned up, and I was meant to get the venue ready by 4 o'clock for an event. And we got there at 10 o'clock in the morning, and we were told the venue would be completely clean and we can get started. And we went there, the venue had the decor from the previous night still there. The whole stage was covered with speakers and all sorts of things. And, immediately we were like, okay, right, this is not good. we have to get the venue ready by 4. So what we started to do is we created the whole decor beside the stage. We alongside, we were working with the team to get, my team helped the other team to clear up the stage and get everything ready. So part of my team I allocated to that. Part of my team started to work on the decor on the side, so that as soon as the stage got cleared up, we could move the decor. We could just lift it and bring it on the stage. We were ready, despite all the problems that we had, we were ready by 3:55 p.m. For a 4 o'clock start. So I hope that's part of one of the USPs I have is the time management piece. We have never missed a deadline that's been given to us.
It's funny you should say that, and thank you for the observation. But I often hear about it with certain venues where you get there's a lot of red tape in terms of deliveries, arrivals going through the delivery area, where you might have 3 or 4 people in the lift, for example, or 3 or 4 people going up the stairs. Have you ever been in that situation?
So it can get stressful. There's all sorts of things going on, right? There's all sorts of things that will go wrong, technology doesn't always go our way. The deliveries, traffic. There's lots of things that you can't really control. I think what you can do is just have a cool mind and look at what the situation is and come up with the best answers in that given situation.
Yes.
And I think it's just having that presence of mind and problem solving skills. I guess one of the things that you get trained at in being in a professional services environment is exactly that skill. So
yeah. No, well, that's great. I mean, I'm glad you've shared that, and I know Vineet was quite anxious to, to hear the answer to that question as everybody else was. So thank you very much for that one, Sona. That was great, to be honest with you. Another question from Gagan Gupta, who's come online. He would like to ask you, what is the event theme that you haven't done but you really want to do it?
Oh, hi, Kevin. The event theme that I haven't done yet that I would love to do. I haven't yet done a theme where I create the sky. And what I mean by that is, in my imagination once, and a lot of people imagine this, what would it be like to walk on the clouds, what it would be like to be in the sky, right? I would love to create that ambience. I would love to create clouds. I'd love to create the sky. I'd love to create that feel that people might get once, how we imagine heaven to be, or how we've been conditioned to imagine heaven to be. I would love to create a theme which is called the heaven.
Yeah, no, I think that's fantastic. So and I know you're thinking out of the box. The sky's the limit, and you're just prepared to just grab the opportunity and go for it. Fabulous. That's what I like to hear. That's absolutely dedication, which is fantastic, really.
Thank you, Jonathan.
So another question from Gagan. What he's basically asking is, how can we make a 50-people wedding into a 200-people wedding in the current scenario? What is the innovation needed to do that?
Well, thank you, Gagan, for that question. So I think the limit to the number of people you can have at a venue is really important. Governments put the limits in, to basically help people not get ill. So we don't want to breach that, but without doing that, you want to involve your family and friends in a function, and that's where the technology piece comes in. The technology can be absolutely fabulous. You can create multiple hubs, if you like, where everybody is celebrating with you. There's a live telecast that you can share, and Vineet would be fantastic at that. I know he does that already for a lot of events where people feel that they are a part of an event, even though they're not actually physically present in that place. So I think if there is, say, a guest list was 200, and people still want to get married, and obviously the government restriction in India, and I think that's where the 50 comes from, is still there. You absolutely need to follow that restriction. You do not want to get yourself or anybody else ill. You want to make sure that you're following the social distancing rules, because they're there for a reason. But you can still install a lot of cameras around the place. You can live telecast it, and if you have the resources, you can create other hubs in other places where people can still get together, still get to do a celebration, but in batches of 50.
Yeah, no, thank you very much, and I hope that I think that's a very, very good answer to your question there, Sona. And I hope Gagan, that's kind of explained to you based on your question given there. I hope you can relate to that. Now I've got a question. Actually, I've got a couple of questions to me here.
Sure.
Now Ritu has asked me, yeah, Jonathan, please tell us something about changes in the wedding industry because of COVID and any plans of overcoming them. Well, Ritu, a very good evening to you, and thank you very, very much for your question. Now, I personally think the way that we're on a 30, basically we're at 30 people at the moment. We can only have a ceremony at a wedding. Just 30 people only. Now, in due course, hopefully, I would like to think by sort of November, December, numbers will increase. Now, I don't know if they will increase or not, but I'm really, really, really hoping they do, because look, there's the hospitality industry, and particularly the Asian wedding industry. The Asian wedding industry depends on a lot of people coming, all the family, all the friends come. I mean, for an average wedding, you're looking at 300 guests, for example. So, are we going to overcome this? I think the whole world would have changed, to be honest with you, by the time this is all over. and I think the venues will have restrictions. They'll still have restrictions in place. So I think, well, maybe if a venue had, you know, maybe was looking at 500, they may look at having a 300 capacity. So I think that will change. I think other change will be also things like wedding and events insurance. I think that's a massive thing now. Now, unfortunately, prior to the COVID-19 episode, only 30% of people took wedding insurance, which was bad. Because a lot of the forums were saying, and I agree slightly, that some of the venues were recommending clients to take it, but others wasn't. It just wasn't being mentioned, and clients were totally in the dark. And the beauty of having taken a wedding insurance prior to the COVID-19 starting was there was indemnities by some companies for COVID-19, to be honest with you. So it's and John Lewis and others are starting to pay now, to be honest with you. They're starting to pay out now for those that were covered with, you know, for the pandemic. But the future is, I would like to see more and more people take wedding insurance. I would like to see more and more wedding event suppliers recommend it to their clients. And I would like to see more venues emphasize how important it is, if just not for COVID-19, but also, God forbid, there's a death in the family. Otherwise, there's a closure of the venue. The supply goes into liquidation. Anything could happen. So that's a question. And thank you very much for that, Gagan. Thank you. Now, what's Guy Wade has just mentions this to Sona. Sona, join the Cloud Appreciation Society. He said to you to make a note of it. He said he's a member and it gives daily serenity. It inspires you to look upwards a little more than we do now. So, okay. Yeah, so you just
I'll certainly do that.
You want to add to that? Yeah. Thank you very much for that, Guy. And Sona here has taken that on board. Now, Vinay's just asked me one more question here, and then I'll move on to the next question. He's actually asked me a question for Jonathan. How do you see your role in a wedding with only 30 people allowed? Now, for me, Vinay, it's not about the numbers. I've done weddings for 10, 15, 18 people. For me, it's what can be provided to the client, the value of your service you're going to give to the client both prior and on that day. Because for me, it's all about giving every client an exclusive experience. I want clients basically, I'm going to go over and above every single wedding I actually do. So for me, 30 people, that's absolutely fine, because as I say, the last wedding, I've done a big wedding, I've done a small wedding, I beg you, for 18 in Cambridge, only 4 or 5 months ago. And clients know to book me, they know what they're going to get. I'm going to be there on hand, I'm going to make it stress-free, I'm going to make it memorable, I'm going to fine-tune everything with all the suppliers prior to the event and on the day. I'm going to do all the announcing. I'm literally going to be their go-to person. So anything that anybody needs, I'm there for them. So I hope that clears up your question there, Vineet. And Honey Kabanda Jola said she's really awesome what we're talking about at the moment. She loves what you're saying here, Sona. So a big thank you to there. Gagan, I'll come back to my other question in a minute, but now I want to carry on interviewing Sona. I want to get her opinions on a few more things here. So Sona, do you feel that weddings or events insurance should be standard to all clients, and why do you think that?
I think the answer's got to be yes. So weddings involve a lot of money, right? A lot of people invest a lot of their emotions plus a lot of their savings into this day. So when there's a lot of money involved, you have to, it's worth getting that peace of mind. And things can go out of control. Obviously, we never want it to. We want to have a perfect wedding, but a lot of my clients this year are suffering because they planned for their weddings this year, and obviously they started to plan it years ago. Nobody anticipated COVID will be here. Nobody can really anticipate what might happen on a given day. So I absolutely recommend it to all my clients. I think it's a wise thing to do.
Yeah, no, it is, because at the end of the day, it's a peace of mind. It's like when you buy a car, as far as I'm concerned. You're just to elaborate on what Sona said, you're investing a lot of money. And to have that peace of mind, knowing you've got insurance, if anything does happen, you're potentially covered. But do have a look around at different insurance companies, speak to different people. There's lots online. just make sure you've got the cover that you need, to make sure the excesses are in place, you've got the right excess, because everyone has got a different idea what they want insurance. But do please consider taking it out for your wedding or event. It is very, very, very beneficial. So I can leave that question. I can leave that question there. Now, I want to ask you, Sona. Now, it's a question which goes around the wedding industry a hell of a lot. Can I ask you, has COVID-19 had an impact on your business?
Oh, massively. So we're all about events, and the one thing that coronavirus absolutely put to a standstill was events. So yes, it's had an absolute impact. I think it's impacted everybody really, but more this industry than any other. You know, there's a lot of weddings that have been cancelled or postponed. There's a lot of parties that got cancelled this year. A lot of preparation that we had done. In fact, the week the lockdown was announced, there were a few parties that we'd been planning for, and they had to be cancelled. So yes, it's impacted us.
Yeah, I think the whole industry, you know, one way or another, has been impacted in terms of postponements, cancellations. And I think if we look at it in hindsight, I feel that, you know, more and more people could have taken insurance out. And I think it would have been a better paper trail, right? Or a lot would have made life a lot easier, but they never. But we can only learn. The important thing is that we can only learn, and people can take out of it what they want to take out of it. We can only kind of advise them, really. I mean, in terms of postponements, you know, everyone I speak to has had lots of postponements. They've had cancellations to deal with. It's a very, very, very testing time for lots of people in the industry. And I think we have to kind of, you know, put ourselves maybe in a client's shoes sometimes, and, you know, just try and help them as much as we can. I think
I agree.
I think as long as we're there for the clients, that's, you know, clients will think a lot of that. No, I mean, Ritu, thank you very, very much. I mean, it's a pleasure. You know, I'm glad you're online. Thank you very much for your very nice comments. Who would I be interviewing next? That's a very good question. I don't know as yet. So we've got time on that one. Another question from Honey Jala to Sona. Sona, she wants to know, how do you strike a balance with work and home and the kids?
Thank you for that question, Honey. It's a balancing act. I think every woman, whether they work or have their own business, have to strike that balance between work and home. And to be honest, in some ways, I'm blessed that I am able to devote more time to my family, running my own business, than I used to be able to working in a full-on corporate job in a financial sector. It's not an easy thing to manage. So I think in some ways, running your own business gives you that flexibility. Obviously, there are crunch times, and that's where you really need to have a support system. And for me, my support system is my parents, my husband, my sisters. You know, you have to have your friends around you when you need them to, so that, you know, events tend to happen at weekends and stuff, and, you know, it's all hours. You sometimes start to set up at midnight because the event's starting next morning, and they had an event going on that day, so you can have started earlier. So it's an all-night thing. So you know, you have to be flexible, and your family has to be flexible. But the main thing is that when you are with your family, you give them that quality time, so that when you're not with them, they understand and support you.
Yeah, no, that's great, and, you know, thank you, Honey, for that question, and I hope what Sona mentioned to you there, you can take something out of. Now, it's funny because you mentioned about getting the balance there, Sona. If I can just kindly ask you, do you ever find that you have to set up the night before if there's not an event on for the following day? Do you ever have to
absolutely. Yeah. I think for my own peace of mind, like I told you, I'm just one of those people who like to do things ahead of time, you know, well in time, really. So if something needs to be set up for 5 o'clock, I want to be ready by 3, you know, and the client's given me a time of 5. I give myself an even tighter deadline, because I like to have that buffer so I can sit back, look that everything's perfect or not. So, and that does mean sometimes that you have to work those hours that, you know, you would otherwise have been sleeping. But that's fine. That's a sacrifice you have to make.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's good. You know, you juggle it right. You know, you have your family time, you have your event time. So it's good that you get that fine balance, and that's very nice. Gagan asked me a question earlier regarding, do I do such a thing as a treasure hunt at a wedding? And the answer to that is actually yes. I do it in a very, very, very different way. to be honest with you. I mean, what I actually do is at the ceremony, I'll explain to people. I'll get a hashtag from the bride and groom, basically, how I'll do it. And I'll say, ladies and gentlemen, here's the bride and groom have given me this hashtag. And what I actually get them to do is when the bride and groom throughout the day, they might be walking around, they might have their arms around each other, they may have a kiss, they could be anywhere, talking to family. And I'll get them to load up as many photos as they can to their Instagram or to their Facebook with a hashtag, normally to the Instagram. And then what will happen is normally a day or two later, the bride and groom will go on and they'll select the best picture, and they might send a little gift to the to the best picture that they've seen. So and it works. It's very nice and interactive, that one, actually. What do you think of that one, Sona? Do you like that one?
It's an interesting one. I hadn't come across that one before. I have to give that a try at some point.
Yeah, very, very different, very sort of unique, and it's a big icebreaker anyway. So Gagan, thank you very, very much, and a very good evening to you, Shilpa. Thank you very much for coming on board here. Shilpa Kashyap Dixit. Any questions, feel free to ask myself or Sona. We'll be only too pleased to answer as many questions as you wish. Now, Sona, question for you here. How do you see the future of the wedding and events industry? What's your take on it?
So I think there is a short-term future, and then there is a long-term future. I think in the short term, it's going to continue to be challenging with the restrictions, the coronavirus. There's going to be uncertainty. People are not going to be entirely sure exactly how to do things. And I think in that space, you can only make decisions just as you go, case by case, just given the limitations that you have. But then I see a slightly medium-term future, and a lot of people are putting their events on hold, right? They're postponing them. They're not canceling them. So you top that up with the events that would have happened next year anyway, and I think I see the market doubling up. I see, as soon as all these restrictions go away, I see a lot of work out there, right? A lot of opportunity for people in the industry like myself and yourself to be really busy to bring in more value to these people. So I think in the medium term, it's only going to get better and going to get busier. And I think this is really our chance to prepare for that. So whilst a lot of people are, struggling right now, I think for me, my message to them would be, this is really your time to take stock of what you have so far, to potentially upskill, enhance, upgrade yourself, and get ready, because it's about to get a hell of a lot busier.
Oh yes, and I can vouch for that. So the same for me next year. It's pretty much, some months are pretty much chock-a-block already, and so I think, I laugh at this one. I think it's going to be a little bit of Lucasade and Red Bull for us all next year. I think we all need to stock up on that one.
Totally.
So, we're coming to the end of the interview now, which, you've been fantastic. Yes, indeed, Guy. I feel, 2020 is likely to be a very busy year for us all, I think, with all the postponements and everything, and, new clients. So, obviously, I wish you well there, Guy, and I hope you, I hope you're okay for 2021. So, if I can come on to the last question, Sona, and just ask you, what else would you like to add, and how would you like to close on this?
To be honest, now that you've given me the space, I think the first thing I'd like to do and say is, a big thank you to my support network. To be honest, I think without a support network, it's really hard to do what I have done. And I said earlier that commercial success or financial success is not really my goal. And the reason I can say this is I have a support network. My husband takes care of the bills, so I have that space to be able to go out there and give the value that I do give to my clients. I have a support network where my friends, some of my first clients were my friends who trusted me to use their events as my kind of playground, if you like, and create what I did. So thank you to all my friends who trusted in me, in my abilities. I'd like to, really thank my family, my parents, my sisters. They really are the backbone of what I do. My creativity, my ideas really flowed to me through my mum, because she's a really creative person. My sisters, one of them is my partner, and one of the other one, she runs a really successful catering business. So, you know, we collaborate quite a lot. All of us we challenge each other, we push each other, we encourage each other. So, you know, without all of that support, it's really hard to do what I have done in terms of jumping careers. So that's the first thing I'd like to say. Secondly, I want to say is just to people in the industry. It's, you know, one of the things that I'm new in the industry as a supplier of the services. I've always used this industry as a customer, if you like. I've had events where I've hired people in to do things for me. And I'm sorry if I'm generalizing a little bit here, but I think the place where I see a little bit of a gap is the level of professionalism sometimes, is to be able to set the expectations right and then deliver to those expectations, and to have very clear communication. Somewhere that's probably where I come in terms of filling that gap. But I think there, you know, we could do a lot more in ensuring that people who hire us and trust us for their special day really get that level of satisfaction and service from us, and you know, a flawless project management, if you like, because that's what it is really. And so they have that peace of mind, and they can walk away thinking that, you know, this is the best service I could have got for what they got, and have that wow moments really. So that's my message to the industry. And, and thank you, Jonathan.
Absolutely fantastic message. A lovely way that Sona's ended it there nicely. She sort of summed up everything. She's given people advice for where her inspiration has come from, and you know, she basically, in a nutshell, wants to wish all the best to you guys as well. That, you know, in your future endeavours. So, well, one more question for you. I believe that that came in. Let me have a look. Yeah, there was a question that came in from. Hold on, 2 seconds. No, it's actually gone now. It was another question, but you can go through the comments there on the forum there. So now you can obviously answer to any other questions that have been missed. So.
Sure.
So I want to say, look, a very, very, very big thank you to everybody that's tuned in this evening, and thank you for your time. I hope you've all found it, you know, educational, so to speak. You know, and you've taken a lot out of it. You've heard Sona speak very passionately about what she loves doing. So Sona, a very, very big thank you to you for coming, for taking part in the interview this evening. How have you found it?
No, thank you, Jonathan. It's really been a pleasure. I'm passionate about what I do, and I'm passionate about talking about what I do. So thank you for giving me this opportunity to talk about what I'm all about. And thank you to all the viewers who with their questions and comments. Thank you all. Love you all.
Thank you very much again, everybody. Thanks, Sona. Thanks again. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye. Right, let's end the broadcast. Right.